Hey there. Nice tracking. Okay, so yeah, that was a little bit of a jab at Panasonic's autofocus. So why aren't I buying the Panasonic GH5? Now, before I get into this video, I just want to say right off the bat that I am not bashing Panasonic. I never have bashed Panasonic. I never will bash Panasonic. There is a tool for everyone out there, and I've given Panasonic many tries. I've tried the GH4, I've tried the G7, and I've tried the G85. I have given the damn system a try multiple times. First of all, let me start off by saying that I really like a lot about the Panasonic GH5. There is a lot to love about this camera. Not only do I know that the Panasonic system can take some amazing still images, but now they are incorporating some extremely high-level, high-powered features for video, and that's a big deal. But I also really like the build, the weight, and the size. The size specifically is an extremely easy camera to hold. I mean, it's just very ergonomic. It's an extremely nice built camera. The magnesium alloy is extremely strong, so this thing is super duper weatherproof. It really is a very professionally well-built camera, so I cannot ding it on any of those levels. And to be perfectly honest, I absolutely love the color science. I think I almost like it. I've said this before. I think I like it better than the Sony's. It's not quite on par with the Canon's color science because I still think that they own the market on that one. But as far as how the overall rendition of color looks with these Panasonic cameras is probably some of my favorite looks. Not to mention that their lenses are extremely small and there is a lot of them to choose from. So if you decide to go with a Micro Four Thirds system, not only do you get access to Panasonic's lenses, but you can also use old Olympus lenses. Alas, there are some things that I dislike. Right off the bat, these cameras are bigger than Sony's cameras. Hey! The G85, the G7, and the GH4, and now the GH5, they're all much bigger. They are much more DSLR-like. I tried to get away from that form factor 2-3 years ago, and I don't really like the form factor. I think they're ugly. I mean, they are very utilitarian and they are, in fact, just a tool. So if you go into it with that mindset, you're not buying a gorgeous piece of hardware here, you're just buying a tool to get a job done, then you're gonna have no issues with it. But not only are you basically, as far as me, and this is coming from a Sony shooter, this is going from a smaller camera with a big sensor to a much bigger camera with a much smaller sensor. And I just can't see the logic in that, at least for me right now. So a lot of people are going to appreciate the larger size and the smaller weight of those lenses. The smaller sensor size is not going to allow you to get as deep of depth of field as the larger APS-C size sensors or the full frame, obviously, but you know, some people have been able to work around that, and I have seen some beautiful stuff made with these Panasonic cameras. But the number one thing that absolutely positively precludes me from buying one of these cameras is the autofocus. Not to mention, this camera, as with all the other cameras, none of them had any sort of phase detection. They're all contrast detect autofocusing points, and that is just not going to work out for me. I just got done watching Max Yuriev's video, and if you haven't seen it yet, please go check it out. I'll leave a link to it down in the description below. It is just amazing. He spent 30 minutes of deep diving and serious hardcore testing trying to figure out exactly how Panasonic actually does all the different things inside the camera to get it to do the autofocus. And he went through point and zone and wide and whatever the different settings are called as far as autofocus is concerned on Panasonic's cameras, and it just absolutely had no rhyme or reason as far as I could tell. Every different situation or setting that he tried to put the camera in, it just wouldn't do. And that's really concerning because even the, smartphones these days have better autofocusing than what I have been able to see thus far out of the GH5. Now, I know a lot of people are trying to be apologetic for the Panasonic GH5, trying to give different types of settings and workarounds and all this other kind of thing, but I just don't have to worry about that with the Sony camera. And like I said, if you plan on doing any type of video work where you're in front of the camera, or if you have your camera on a gimbal and you're flying that camera around, you don't have time. You don't have the ability to manually focus as you're doing the thing. But if you're always behind the camera and you're always the one in charge of the focus, or you've got a dedicated focus puller, then fine. Then that is going to be a fantastic tool for you. And I say without a doubt, for $2,000 with all the pro level features that they've integrated into that camera, it is a must buy. But if you do a lot of work in front of a camera, it is absolutely positively indispensable, especially for the vlogger or YouTube community or anyone that does these style videos. we're in front of the camera all the time, and a lot of us are just one-man bands. So we have to depend on the autofocus actually being good and being accurate. So for me, I fall into that camp. Now, there is a lot to dislike about the Sony cameras. I've talked about that ad nauseum. So there is a tool for each and every person out there. It's up to you though to figure out what tool is going to be the best for your particular situation. Are you in front of the camera most of the time? You're probably going to want to go Sony. If you're behind the camera most of the time and you have full and complete total control over the focus, fine. Get a Panasonic GH5 because it is just chock full of amazing pro video features. But for me, it's just not gonna work out. So there you have it, there you go guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. It's all the same to me. At any rate, thanks again for stopping here. I'm your host, Mark Puckett, and I will see you guys again on the next one. Peace.